the stage. What we're going to do is we're going to tell... This is intimidating. We're going to tell you guys a story. What is your favorite Pixar movie? All right, we're gonna take The Incredibles. We're gonna take The Incredibles. This is the original non-sanctioned script that you've never heard of for the movie The Incredibles. So what's going to happen is we're going to start with Steve here on the end. He's going to say, "Once upon a time," and he's going to begin telling you the story of The Incredibles. When I ding the bell, the next person in line, which is Christine, will then start with "unfortunately" or "fortunately" and continue the story. And we're going to see where we start and where we end up with Andy over here. So go ahead and start "Once upon a time" with The Incredibles.
Once upon a time, there was a group of men and women that traveled the universe, and once they got to a particular universe, they decided they were going to set up shop and start to create a business of
superheroes, costume making. Unfortunately, they could not decide what their business would be. So, as they tried so hard to make this decision, they voted, and they thought, and they researched, and they slept on an idea, and they came back to it later, and they talked about it over coffee, and finally, after all of this, they began to argue. They could not get along, and as they kept going, it became so upsetting to them. They had to hire lawyers on both sides to be able to mediate. What are we going to do in this business that we're establishing together?
Fortunately, they were immortal. All they had to do was wait about 70, 80 years. Their lawyers all passed away from old age. And finally, they came up with their business decision. They were going to make apple pies. So off they went with their business proposal done on a few scrap pieces of paper, and there were fruit trees that were still seeds at the moment, but eventually they would find a planet somewhere in the solar system that they could grow their apples on.
Fortunately, they found Mars, landed there, and actually built a Apple store, and they actually introduced other pies as well. And they found it a little difficult because they needed a business license, but no one was around to give it to them. So they just had to proceed anyway. They opened up, and things were a little slow for a while. Nobody was on Mars. So they would take turns buying pies from each other.
Fortunately, they saw there was a prime new market just next door on this planet called Earth. Taking their new brand of apple pies, the red pie, named after the red planet, of course. They came down to Earth and showed these pies to the world. And to make sure that they really got the branding across, they had these really tight red uniforms. They're kind of a little stretchy to really match the beauty and like the ruby redness of the apples that went into this pie. However, they found out they were not the only people selling pies on this planet. For there was another group, the Credibles.
Unfortunately, the family was back in court. They were being sued because it turns out they weren't disclosing their ingredients, and the children that were eating them were growing extra limbs. And not only extra limbs, but some actually developed superpowers. And the family saw it as a threat to their business, So they introduce more ingredients, secret ingredients, so they can get rid of these children.
Fortunately, they started rethinking their business plan. They actually decided, well, at this point, see, Mr. Incredible, he was so used to being on the top. I mean, his whole life he was always on the top. And when the Credibles came in and started taking over market share, Mr. Incredible, he really, really struggled. He got really depressed. He put on a bunch of weight. And he really didn't know how to handle it. But luckily his wife, she gave him some good encouragement, and they came up with a fantastic business plan to actually knock the Credibles back and regain their market share. And so they really started. It was kind of a global. It was a global penetration actually. They got mass distributorship through Walmart's, and lots of other distributors. They totally reinvented their branding, and they consulted with Steve Jobs how to really innovate it and really push the envelope with their marketing. They were all over Facebook, and Mr. Incredible, this really started. He started getting very encouraged. They started gaining on the Credibles, and the Credibles did not like that. So he started gaining on them, and Mr. Incredible, he started feeling good again. He started hitting the gym again. He started pumping trains again, and started infusing some life back into him. And at this point, he remembered that he was a superhero, and here he's selling apple pies, and he's a superhero. And then he remembered back to the old days when he used to be a superhero, and he thought, what the crap am I doing selling apple pies?
Fortunately, his wife was feeling the exact same thing. She was stretched to the max. Listening to her husband complain, all I'm doing is selling pies. I should go save the world. She finally says, all right, you want to go save the world? Save the world. Let's make these pies like indestructible. They'll be incredible. So she makes her special pies. They're not just special eating pies. These are stretchy pies. So you can go like this and hit somebody in the face. Another kind of pie where it's like you just throw like a frisbee in it, like this. And then another kind of pie that goes invisible. Another kind of pie burns with a fire. Another kind of pie that just, the cherries inside are like super fast. Unfortunately, the Credibles saw this and they're like, I want that. And so they crept behind the house and they stole the recipe of all the crazy pies. And they're like, you know what? We're going to sell these and make it even better. They're going to fly and they're going to float. And they're like, that's the same thing. But they won't know that. So they started to sell them, and the Incredibles are like, what the heck are they doing? How did they get their pies? And they're like, we stole them from behind your house.
Unfortunately, other aliens from far, far, far galaxies saw this prosperous pie company that they had made. So they came over and they started to take over the world and take over the pie business. Found that was a pretty good deal. So they were doing this, and other aliens from other parts of the galaxy started coming around. There was this giant war on Earth for the pies, and Target was having a battle with Walmart. Who could sell the best pies, and they did end up back in court.
Fortunately, the Incredibles had a plan. They were able to come up with a pie that was just so good and so big and so filling that anyone who ate it would just start floating up in the air and eventually rotate around so it become a new planet. To replace Pluto, the ninth, I think now. The Incredibles saw this and said, this is like a cycle of business. Like, we give the people these pies, and then they become planets, and we open a new store. As long as there's people, there's infinite planets.